This is why I need to make this video. People like Jiven have been doing the same routine for years and they're still trash. Somehow, this guy is still my duo. And see this guy right here? Yeah, this is gonna be you after this video. On your way to success. Placing in your first tournament. Now, just as a reference, this is one of the most OG clips from like the beginning of chapter 2, I think. And this is when I first switched to my joystick. Now, I changed up all my binds and I'm doing the craziest and most awkward retakes. I mean, you could see I'm just spamming wall builds and placing cones everywhere. So I'm showing you the most bot clips I have from like literally the first week. This was actually the first day, believe it or not, of when I switched to the new binds and I decided to hop onto Arena. Now, as you can see, pay attention to like the awkward things I'm just taking out during a fight. Like, for example, I want to ramp over this guy. I take out my pickaxe and I start smacking my own stairs. So I'm like, okay, let me drop down on his wall, place stairs above his box. Like, what am I doing here? Coming from all that way, all the way to today's date where you're literally watching a fight I just got the other day, first day of the new chapter, where I'm build fighting a player and I'm trying my absolute hardest to stay consistent with my edits. I'm triple editing. I'm almost getting him triple edited down into my box. I mean, this guy that I'm versing right now is definitely pooping his pants after he gets this piece controller. This whole video, it's going to be timestamped, FYI. So if you want to skip around, you could, but I'd really recommend obviously watching the whole thing through. I mean, I know I'm a YouTuber, so I'm probably going to say that anyway, but it all goes along one by one. It's a step-by-step routine. The most important part of the video is to use code KenBeans in the item shop though. That goes without saying. So the biggest difference between now and then from those clips that you just watched, I wrote down 4 things. 1, I have way better peaks because I practiced it a lot. 2, my edits are a lot smoother and more consistent because I focused on being slower at first rather than trying to do things at max speed like I did in the original clip. 3, I have more experience edit coursing. So when it comes to build fights and box fights, there obviously the 4th thing goes along is raising the confidence level because I have more experience when trying to course people up. This is all based around the fact that I have a revolving routine and what everyone in Fortnite should do because you should never practice the same thing for like more than 2 months. So my routine is never get your butt right into Arena the second you hop on the game. You do this only if you're a casual player and you're not trying to improve. My biggest mistake ever was hopping right into my stream and just thinking that people want to see content, so I just rush into Arena and I end up dying and playing even worse. This whole thing, by the way, usually would probably take me around 40 minutes, but you can extend it or shorten it as long as you want. I start out by doing the most important drills in the game currently and the drills that I think I struggle at or need to be more consistent with. This is the first drill that I naturally go to every single time I play the game because I use it all the time in my fights. You ramp up and you place cones, but notice how steep I'm looking down. I'm almost head level when I'm doing this. A more beginner player is going to be doing it like this. You see how I have my head kind of higher up to place the floor and the cone here? From all the pros that I've watched, they all do it like this. It's such a smooth and satisfying thing to do, especially when you get on the game, so it makes me actually want to practice it even more. Now you got to keep in mind, I'm a little bit more of an advanced player, but I'm going to show some easy ones real quick too. What I mentioned in my previous routine that I still do, but not as often, are these walking double edit full boxes. Notice how I'm forcing myself to be smooth though. I'm not trying to be flicky. It allows me to not mess up as much. Sometimes when I do this, what I'll do is also take out my shotgun, I'll place a wall and edit and then try and go for a shot like this, randomly incorporating other binds into these drills so that I can get used to doing it in a real game. The next one that I really used to struggle at, but through the last season, I got really consistent at doing it. I like to practice turning around, throwing up stairs, placing a wall, and then trying to place the floor and go for a nice little edit down peak shot here. Ask anyone and their mother, they always use this move. The best people in the world are the most comfortable at editing stairs in almost any direction, which is why I practice it. Now, I was watching a pro player the other day, and I didn't want to add this one because I don't want to make this section too long, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I know it's worth. Whenever you're in a build fight or anything and you have a stair in front of you, what I saw this one pro doing all the time was taking a stair and then flipping it to the right or left and then editing through a wall. Now the trick is to throw the stair in the direction of the enemy and then edit the wall in front of you so they can't full box you. I'm going to show you the most protective retake, but also this is out of the range of protective retakes. This is the easiest one to do. It starts out very simple. If you don't know how to do this generic retake where I throw high walls up and then place a stair, you need to practice doing this from both sides first and get comfortable doing that. To take it up a notch, I edit out the side, and what I I do is place a stair, a cone, and then a wall. From here, all you have to do is edit the cone and make sure you do a single tile edit so that no one can shoot you and it won't break the cone. This is the retake that I practice, and I'm going to show you me doing it right now in fast motion, and I kind of connect it really fluently, and this is getting really complicated, so I'm not going to explain all this, but that retake is the baseline for getting really advanced protective retakes that I incorporate in my routine when I warm up. Now, at the same time, I'm banging all these things out together. I'm doing free build edit coursing. Let me lay the baseline for people who are newer to the game. You need to learn how to edit course, whether it's doing 3 edits in a row, 4 edits, maybe even 2 edits in a row, starting wherever you can to just try and learn how to connect multiple edits back to back and build yourself a platform to walk on as you're in the air. This is something that you're going to see me doing now that is way more advanced, and I'm connecting it all the way through and trying to keep the streak alive. How many edits can I make in a row without messing up? I try to go up and down between elevation. Just by learning the building grid this way, you're going to feel way more mechanically skilled in your routine. I remember trying to edit course, and I know the struggle. I was really hating every second of it because the beginning part's the worst. You feel like there's a massive learning curve and you can't get over it. The people who are sweats are just gonna be like, oh, it's so easy, blah, blah, blah. It really is kind of difficult to learn how to connect multiple edits back to back, especially if you have a higher ping. So don't stress about it too much. Just try your best and go day to day. All that is going to be joined together during like a 15-minute warm-up routine of me free building, edit coursing, doing drills and retakes. After all that's said and done, usually, especially before a tournament, I try to 1v1 my duo, but if he's not around, I go into Raiders 1v1 map or any 1v1 map. It literally doesn't matter. And I practice full repping out all the things that I was just doing the past 15 minutes. Edit coursing, doing protective retakes, doing good peaks. If you're more of a player on my skill level, the goal is to not take damage while you're trying to do all these retakes and stuff. If you're more on the beginner side or intermediate side, the goal is to hold height, practice protective retakes, but going as slow as I need to so that I make sure when I'm taking height, I'm not getting shot. Now, trust me, I know the struggle of playing with random. Some of them play like absolute idiots. So in that case, before you want to chuck your PC out the window, find another guy and do the same thing again. Let me give you a little piece of advice. Play with the guns in the meta. And I said in my last routine that I never use realistic 1v1 maps. Raider has released a new one since that time. This one is way better, but the downside is that you might not be able to find random people to do it with, but Jiven and I use this all the time, especially before a tournament. It's a way more realistic setting where if we crank up 9 layers high, we're just going to chop each other out because we don't have that much mats. Now, if there's no tournament for the day, I'm going to hop into Arena. If you are genuinely trying to get better at the game, do not play pubs. I haven't played pubs more than 5 times in like the past 8 months. If you're chilling, trying to relax with your friends, that's different, but for a routine purpose, don't do it. When I'm playing Arena, here's the mindset behind what I'm thinking. I'm focusing on my game sense, but also my mechanics to play as optimal as I possibly can. So my warm-up kind of trained my mind into not taking too much damage so that by the time I go into the real game, I just need to adapt to the game sense side of it. For example, land at the right spot, grab the right guns, learn when to take the right peaks. So that way I can figure out the realistic side of the game and what I struggle at in that area. Also, if you're newer to the game, this is where I'm practicing my different binds, like taking out heals during a fight, pressing my map button, dropping guns, figuring out the right loot on the ground. So I'm getting different types of practice in both Arena and creative. Keep in mind that this whole thing, probably leading up into my first game Arena, like I said, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. It could be as long as you want. I wouldn't go anything past 2 hours though. That's like a joke. This is my current loadout, my favorite one, and what I use to practice keying people. I use the Thunder shotgun, the Excalibur rifle. Now this thing could get removed. If that's the case, use the Shockwave hammer. Then I have an SMG, I have minis and splashes or any sort of heal. I go around the map and I'm trying to key whoever I can find, but being smart at the same time, right? I'm not gonna go into Arena and just run into the zone to try and key people because at that point my game's over. Most importantly, now this is arguably the most important part of the video, is getting the hell off your PC or your console. The idea behind this is, like, for me, after I stream, I take a break. I come back to the game at a later date if and only if I feel motivated to do so and if I have the time. This part of my routine is the most flexible. Now let's just say I took a 4-hour break or it's nighttime, so I hop back on the game because I have some free time. What I plan to do is to go into Raiders maps, and my biggest struggle at the moment is being consistent with edit coursing. So I'll go into any of these maps, literally doesn't even matter. I'll have a bunch listed down below, and I go throughout the drill just trying to full piece control and stay consistent consistent while being behind the peak. Also, this is a slept on portion of the video. This is for the real go-getters. Jiven just put me onto this recently, called Kovacs Benchmark. So if you have Kovacs, which is $10, you go onto the game and there's a benchmark section. It's literally dead in front of you, like right in your face the second you log on. I paid for a yearly subscription. It was $21, and it has a ranking system with like a leaderboard, and it tells you how many stars you have in a certain area of aiming. So Jiven's been repping this out a lot recently. I'm not going to show too much gameplay of this because Kovacs is hella boring, but I'm going to start doing this for like 15 minutes the second I get on my PC. Maybe longer if I'm feeling myself. So you wake up the next day, boom. You get on the game the next day, and you remember the things that you think you struggled at the most from the previous day. Go into the free build map, go into the 1v1s with all those things in mind, and practice trying to incorporate those into your warm-up. This is how you have a revolving routine structured around what you're bad at, so it's going to change as you go along. If you have a lot of things to learn and you're newer to the game, take it one step at a time. Don't stress yourself out. 1-2 things a week, switch it up, then try and learn 1 or 2 more new different things, switch it up, and just go between those. After a while, maybe you'll come back, learn 2 more new things, and go between those for a couple weeks. I just want to preference, this is not a get good quick scheme. I put this at the end of my last video because it's such freaking facts. People have been playing Fortnite for years. There's still tons of new people coming to the game all the time, so don't let that demotivate you. That's the baseline for having the best routine in 2023. Now, if you want to get to my level, you're going to need to put in a lot of work, but anyone can get to Jiven's level. If you learned something, drop a sub. Got more content coming soon. See you guys in the next vid. Peace.